A lot of people only start paying attention to the body when something becomes obvious. The head feels heavy, so they think the head is the problem. Sleep becomes unstable, so they think sleep is the problem. Energy drops, so they assume they are simply tired, stressed, or getting older. But if you really observe carefully, many imbalances do not begin at the moment symptoms appear. Very often, the system has already shifted long before that. The first change is not always pain, discomfort, or failure. The first change is often a deviation in circulation, a quiet change in the way the whole human battery is moving, regulating, and recovering. This is one of the most important ideas in Taiyi Budong energy navigation. The body is not just a collection of separate parts. It is an energy regulation system. It has flow, rhythm, timing, pressure, resistance, and recovery patterns. When everything is moving smoothly, you may not think about it at all. But when the circulation begins to tilt, even slightly, the system may still function on the surface while the deeper pattern is already changing. This is why symptoms are often not the beginning. They are usually the later result of a process that started much earlier. Think about a city traffic system. When a major road is completely blocked, everyone notices. Cars stop moving, people complain, travel time increases, and suddenly the whole city knows something is wrong. But the real beginning was not the total blockage. Earlier, one intersection started slowing down. One direction became overloaded. One small area had too many cars entering and not enough cars leaving. If someone observed the trend line early, they could see that the system was no longer balanced. The blockage was only the final visible expression of a circulation problem that had already been forming. The human battery works in a similar way. A person may not feel anything dramatic at first. They may still work, exercise, socialize, and appear normal. But inside the system, the recharge window may already be narrowing. The Yang-Si index, or YQI, may no longer rise smoothly after rest. The total energy index, or TEI, may still look acceptable for a while, but the recovery quality is becoming weaker. This is where many people misunderstand their own energy. They think, I slept, so I recovered. But sometimes the system only reaches a false full charge, where the surface feels okay while the deeper battery is not truly stable. What most people misunderstand is that the location of discomfort is not always the origin of the imbalance. If the stomach feels uncomfortable, it does not always mean the stomach is the whole story. If sleep is unstable, it does not always mean sleep itself is the root issue. If the head feels tense, it does not always mean the head is the starting point. In a circulation system, one area can become restricted, and another area may be the place where the pressure finally appears. The symptom is like the alarm light on a dashboard. It tells you something needs attention, but it does not always tell you the whole mechanism. This is why Taiyi Budong keeps emphasizing system observation instead of single-point interpretation. When we look only at symptoms, we tend to chase the loudest signal. But when we observe the whole human battery, we begin to notice relationships. Maybe the person's TEI drops after emotional pressure, but their YQI does not recover during the usual recharge window. Maybe their energy impedance is high, so even when they rest, the system cannot receive recharge smoothly. Maybe their background processes are still running at night, keeping the internal system active even when the person believes they are resting. Background processes are especially important in modern life. Many people think they are relaxing because they are sitting on the sofa, scrolling their phone, or lying in bed. But the human battery may still be running many hidden tasks. The mind is still processing messages, unfinished work, emotional tension, financial pressure, social comparison, or tomorrow's schedule. From the outside, the body looks still, but inside the system is not quiet. This is why some people sleep for many hours and still wake up heavy. The issue is not simply the number of hours, it is whether the recharge actually enters the system. If you observe daily life carefully, you can often see the early signs of systemic tilt. Before strong discomfort appears, for example, someone begins to need more time to feel awake in the morning. Their mood becomes easier to disturb. They can still complete work, but they feel less spacious inside. They recover from social events more slowly than before. Their appetite, focus, and emotional rhythm become less predictable. None of these necessarily means something is wrong in a medical sense. But in the human battery model, these can be signs that the energy rhythm is drifting away from its original balance. This is where the idea of meridians becomes useful as an observation window. In traditional Eastern language, meridians describe pathways of internal energy flow. For many modern people, that can sound abstract. But in the mid-20th century, Dr. Yoshio Nakatani observed that electrical resistance at certain skin points could change in relation to the body's condition. And these high conductivity points were found to align closely with traditional meridian pathways. In Taiyibudong energy navigation, we do not need to turn this into a medical claim. We can simply understand it as one way to observe patterns in the body's energy regulation system. When the body is viewed as a human battery, these observation windows become more meaningful. We are not trying to label a disease. We are trying to understand the pattern. Is the system charging? Is the system leaking? Is the recharge window effective? Is the YQI rising or staying low? Is the TEI stable or slowly declining? Is energy impedance preventing energy from moving smoothly? Are background processes consuming energy silently? This kind of observation helps people stop reacting only after discomfort becomes obvious. Instead, they begin to notice the direction of the system before the pattern becomes extreme. This is also the reason Taiyi Budong uses tools such as EMAS and TRI within an educational energy framework. The value is not in making people afraid of numbers. The value is in helping people see their own trend line. One reading may be interesting, but the trend line is more important. If your energy regulation improves after better sleep timing, quieter evenings, slower meals, and more stable routines, that pattern matters. If your recharge remains weak even after long rest, that pattern also matters. The goal is not to panic over one signal, but to build self-awareness through repeated observation. A simple real-life example is someone who says, "I don't know why I'm tired. I sleep enough." When you look more closely, their life operating protocol may be constantly draining them. They wake up and check messages immediately. They drink coffee before noticing their real energy state. They work under pressure all day, eat quickly, absorb too much information at night, and go to bed with the mind still running. On paper, they slept 7 or 8 hours. But in the human battery model, their recharge window was disturbed, background processes were active, energy impedance stayed high, and the system never fully settled. Another example is someone who only pays attention when discomfort appears. They may ignore small changes for months because nothing feels serious. But gradually, their mornings become heavier, their patience becomes shorter, their focus becomes thinner, and their recovery after stress becomes slower. By the time they say, "I feel completely drained," the trend line has already been moving downward for a long time. This is the common misunderstanding. People wait for the body to shout. Taiyi Budong teaches that the system usually whispers first. The whisper is circulation deviation, rhythm disturbance, and reduced rechargeability. So the key lesson is simple but very important. Human imbalance does not always begin with symptoms. Very often it begins as a deviation in circulation. Symptoms are the result, not the starting point. If we only respond to symptoms, we are always late. But if we learn to observe the human battery, the recharge window, TEI, YQI, energy impedance, background processes, and the overall trend line, we begin to understand the system earlier and more clearly. This is not about diagnosing or treating disease. It is about energy rhythm, system balance, lifestyle adjustment, and self-awareness. If this idea helps you see your own body in a new way, take a moment today to observe your system. Not just whether you feel good or bad, but whether your energy is stable, whether your recharge feels real, and whether your daily life operating protocol supports or drains your human battery. This is the foundation of Taiyi Budong energy navigation, helping people understand their own patterns before the system is forced to speak loudly. If you want to keep learning how to observe your energy system, subscribe to this channel, follow the next video, and continue building a clearer relationship with your own human battery.